The MotorWorldRacing.com Suzuki rider struggled, survived, and ultimately conquered the field for a grueling first ever Supercross win. Flash forward from Spain to Holland, from mudcross to Supercross. Stay tuned for round 2 of the THQ World Supercross GP next on ESPN2's Speed World. Happy holidays from Arnhem, Holland. Just like back home, the streets are decorated, the stores are jam-packed, and residents of this northern European city scurry about buying presents, getting ready for the Christmas holiday. Our gift to you, THQ World Supercross GP, the second stop of the tour from the Gelredome on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean in the Netherlands. Hello everyone, I'm Davey Coombs, and joining me will be Cameron Still up in the booth and Jamie Little down on the racetrack. What we have for you tonight is the full package of THQ World Supercross GP. You'll see the heat races, the semi, the LCQ, and of course, 20-lap main event. Along the way, we'll also hear from Chad Reed and more from Ricky Carmichael. But first, let's take a look at last week's highlights from that incredible race in Spain. Well, there have been mud races in Supercross, and then there was this one. The opening round of THQ World Supercross GP was quite possibly the muddiest race in the history of the sport. Mike Brown got through the first turn clean, but that was about it as carnage was left behind in the mud with a lot of top riders. Check out Steve Boniface holding on. Shane Boyd comes down the inside. There goes J.S. Waugh, and a big pileup ensued. None of those riders would make it back to the podium. Out front, Brown would begin battling with a surprise contender, MotorWorldRacing.com rider Daryl Hurley from New Zealand. The two went back and forth with Brown on the big YZ450F until that stall gave Hurley the lead. As the course on the floor of Stadio Olimpico continued to deteriorate, Brown fought back using his old school Tennessee mud skills. And then when Hurley made this mistake, getting stuck in the mud, Mike Brown made what might have been the slowest pass for the lead in the history of Supercross. Check out what happened to Hurley. This was the thing that caught riders all night long, trying to paddle your way down through the ruts, trying to keep your momentum going forward, and then stalling. And that, of course, is what happened to Mike Brown just one lap later. He finally fried the clutch on the Yamaha Troy motorcycle, and that was it for Brown's shot at a first ever 250 Supercross main event win. Out front, it was Hurley. All he had to do was get through those same ruts and stay ahead of this guy, Tyler Evans, and MotorWorldRacing.com's Andrew Short. And as fate would have it, it would be Evans falling down, and then Short would stall his Suzuki and fade into the back of the results. Out front, all alone, it was Hurley, and that's as close as it got to a victory celebration. Jamie Little is standing by with our surprise winner from Seville, Spain.
Daryl Hurley entered the history books last weekend in Spain as the first New Zealander to ever win a Supercross 250 main event. Daryl, lots of things have changed this week so far, but first of all, has it sunk in, and how are you feeling about that win?
Yeah, definitely it's over now, and I just want to forget about last week. It was totally different than any other Supercross race, obviously, because it was so muddy and stuff, but it was good to win that. Definitely, there's 20 guys still on the start, and everyone had a shot at winning, and I just managed to get it to the finish line and win for our team and stuff, which was really good. But this week's going to be totally different, so I'm just going to change things around and just I'm going to stick to my game plan, and that was to come here and then to get some time on the bike and get ready for the American rounds.
And I know I mentioned last week, Daryl was pretty much an unknown in a lot of people's eyes. Suddenly you're Mr. Popular. Everybody's taking photos of you. What's it been like dealing with all that I guess, publicity, you'd say?
Yeah, it has been weird to start, to have all these people, coming up and taking photos, and I can now see what Chad and Ricky and Jeremy and those guys went through, with just being so popular. And, I'm not that sort of person. I like to just, be quiet and sit back and do my own thing. So it's, it's been a little weird to get used to, but, you know, this week's going to be totally different, and I just want to, you know, go out there and do what I planned to come here and do, and that was to get time on the bike and, you know, have a good race and, you know, go back to America and keep preparing for Anaheim.
That's right. He will be on a 250 in the States going for that 250 championship.
Well, Jamie, for sure, Darrell is going to have to step it up if he wants to win this title. There is a slew of international riders that want to put some whooping on him and take home their first ever Supercross win. And this track here in Arnhem is a great one to do it on. But I will point out, the dirt's just a little bit soft and it will rut up, making it hard to keep your lines and get over the obstacles every single lap. Right now, let's take a look at the THQ track map. Right out of the start straight is a very tight left-hand turn into a section you could quad, triple. It's going to be tough. A triple on the outside into some big jumps, and then the whoop section. It's very soft. Lines are developing quickly. Outside, you have a triple, inside, double, and then the big triple on the course into a rhythm section. But here, the whoops, they're double spaced. They're tough to get through. This will be the great equalizer off the finish line jump, and that's your THQ track map.
When we return, it'll be time to drop the starting gate on the racing here in Holland with the first 250 heat.
The dealer for the gifts that go.
Welcome back to THQ World Supercross GP from the Gelredome Stadium here in Arnhem, Holland. Now, let's get down to the starting gate for our 250cc Heat 1 lineup. Now, taking a look at our starting lineup for the first 250 heat. Number 8 is Grant Langston, the newly crowned AMA 125cc National Motocross Champion. 28 is Heath Voss. James Pavoni is 64. Clark Stiles, 34. And Ohio's Jeff Gibson wears number 87. Mike Brown will be number 3. Then it's Jason Thomas. Shane Boyd from Australia, a big surprise last week. Jeremy Israel. Pierre Senac from France. Manuel Rivas from Spain. Isaiah Johnson, Canada's Doug DeHaan. Ryan Clark will be number 43. Kevin Johnson's 31. Joseph Dobbs from the Czech Republic wears 48. Then Damian Platz is 66. Rafael Bedouin is number 14. And Mikkel Muskin is number 73. Well, Cameron Steele, you see the riders down on the starting line. The 30-second board has now gone up. You see the lovely Miss KTM out there. Cameron, what do you expect in the first turn? To me, it looks tight.
It's definitely going to be mayhem. Everybody lined up on the inside really has to push over to their right, and they're going to be squeezing out. Those bales come really far out. It's going to be a tough corner to negotiate. It's going to be really key to get out in front right away, because if not, you're going to get pushed into those far hay bales.
You got to think that Red Bull KTM rider Grant Langston is your favorite. He had the 3rd fastest time in practice, and now the cart is sideways. And in a second, we will be off here in Arnhem, Holland. And there goes the gate into the first turn. You see him stacking up there. A couple guys into the hay bales. Oh, and it looks like 43, Ryan Clark, has gone off the track. And so has number 66. That's Damian Platz. But back at the front of the field, it looks like it is a Yamaha out front. And that is Isaiah Johnson.
Isaiah Johnson had some of the most surprising lap times in practice. He was right up there with the fastest factory stars. He's been training down in New Mexico, and he definitely has the look of a guy that wants to make a statement here in Arnhem. He was super excited about the track. He's followed right now by Clark Stiles, number 34 on the Subway Honda.
And there you see the view from down below. There goes Voss through the whoops. About 3 guys he takes on the inside, including number 31. That was Keith Johnson. So Heath Voss making time up, and Cameron Heath decided to ride a YZ 250 after all. A lot of people thought he'd be on the 450 app.
Said he's very comfortable on the bike. He's excited about what the bike does underneath him, and he says he'll be riding the 4-stroke in the United States, but here he's riding the 2-stroke, and Isaiah moving out in front. Solid lead right now. Remember, the top 4 are going to move on to the main event. Everybody else goes to the semifinals.
Isaiah Johnson was the rider you might remember from last week. His bike was so hopelessly stuck that his father Vern had to come out and help him get out. And in the end, they had about 5 guys trying to pull that bike out of the mud in Seville, Spain. He did not get out, and he did not qualify. So right now, a little bit of redemption going for Isaiah Johnson here in Arnhem, Holland.
And he's tackling those whoops that are double-spaced whoops. probably the most difficult part of the track for all the riders. It's hard to keep your momentum going and stay on top of them. Now into the section where there's either or, so they can choose. They can even quad into it, but only a couple riders were doing it. It's actually really hairy when they do it.
Just caught a glimpse of the second place rider behind him. That is number 3, Mike Brown, 2001 AMA 125 National Motocross Champion. Brownie was the big heartbreak last week. He was riding a YZ450F. The clutch went out while he was leading. About 2 laps to go in Spain. It would have been his first ever 250 Supercross main event win. As it was, he ended up 13th in a lap down. Now he's starting to really put pressure. You see him coming through the whoops. Number 3 is Brown. 198 is the privateer, Isaiah Johnson. And Voss comes along. That was a surprise. Heath Voss sneaks up on Brown and puts his Yamaha ahead of the number 3 bike.
Voss actually told me after Seville, Spain, he was disappointed with his 4th place finish. He said he wanted to come here and give 2 wins to Yamaha, and you saw he did the section a little bit differently there with a triple at the end. That's that section right after the start, straight over the triple. Looks like he's lining up the leader, Isaiah Johnson. We'll see how they come through the whoops. Voss has been carrying a ton of speed, and now he'll go to the outside for, a little bit of a block. Isaiah coming to the outside, and Voss not able to do that small triple. We'll see if he can set him up here, maybe to the inside of this next corner.
Well, we know Voss is one of the strongest riders in the entire world of Supercross. You see him wide open down along the inside, and Voss makes the pass. He just bulldogged it right through there.
That's a good way to describe his style, actually. He muscles the bike around quite a bit. He said when he first started racing dirt bikes, he did it with a lot of upper body, and he never really raced his classes for a long time. His dad said, hey, if you're starting to win in the beginner class, we're moving up to the junior class. You win in there, we're moving up to intermediates, and then he turned pro at a young age, so he never really had the time to develop his style all the way. He says, I ride with a lot of upper body, where you see guys that maybe race for a long time when they're younger, race with more of their legs. He actually said that about James Stewart.
There you see Heath Voss, your leader on the number 28 Yamaha. Isaiah Johnson holds second. Another Yamaha. Mike Brown is third. Actually, Yamaha is 1 through 5 at this point with Voss, Isaiah Johnson, Mike Brown, Keith Johnson, and Jeff Gibson. You might be wondering, where are the KTMs right now? Grant Langston holds on to 6th place, and we don't know about Shane Boyd. He is a little further back. There you see as they come through the whoops here in Arnhem, Holland. A little different on the rhythm section, as Cameron was saying earlier. Everyone trying different things, but right now it's almost all even as Voss leads. Isaiah Johnson second, Mike Brown third, and then Keith Johnson. And those are the 4 riders that would qualify for the main event if the checkered flag were to fall right now.
And that would put Jeff Gibson into the semi, and he's been looking great all weekend. One of the faster riders on the course. I think a big surprise to a lot of people. He's actually scheduled to ride in the 125 West when he goes back home. But he says, hey, if I can keep riding like this, I may just stay in the 250s.
There you see Keith Johnson. He is number 31. He is the rider on the bubble. He would be a direct transfer, but it looks like he's not settling for that. He's moving up closely to Yamaha Troy's Mike Brown. Comes off the break there. Now they'll do a rhythm section over the triple and then a long section of whoops. And just as we mentioned Keith Johnson, you can see Mike Brown moving up on Isaiah Johnson.
Looking to set him up possibly in one of these corners. One thing about Keith Johnson and Isaiah Johnson, although they both do live 3 doors apart in Albuquerque, New Mexico, they are not related, but they do train with Sandy Buckaloo, Justin Buckaloo's mom. She's been out there helping him out, and he says it's been paying off huge. Right now, both guys qualifying in the main as we see Heath Voss continuing to lay down some good laps here.
There goes the white flag for Voss, your leader, number 28. He finished 4th in the opening round of THQ World Supercross GP. Oh, and Isaiah Johnson has gone down, our early leader. He was in 2nd. Here's what happened.
Davey, these are the whoops we've been talking about so far all night. He actually looked like he broke his triple clamp off. I'm sure that happened when he hit the ground, but those whoops are so tough to stay on top of. The guys have been getting on top and risking it to do it. Some guys have been using like a double section or triple section, but these guys want to get on top to carry as much momentum as they can. Heath Voss has been having no problems with it. Here's the section that we saw Isaiah have a problem with. See the yellow flags waving? Heath taking a little bit easy as he heads for the checkered flag.
So 1 more corner to go for Heath Voss, and then he will go straight to the main event. There's the checkered flag. Voss is our first winner tonight here in Holland. Mike Brown will transfer to 2nd. Keith Johnson is third, and Jeff Gibson takes the fourth and final transfer spot in fourth position. So the first qualifier, heat race is over here in Holland. Heath Voss is your winner. Mike Brown, Keith Johnson, Jeff Gibson leave a 1, 2, 3, 4 Yamaha sweep. They will all go to the main event. The rest of the riders, including your early leader, Isaiah Johnson, will have to go to the semi. There's your results. 250cc Heat 1. Heath Voss, Mike Brown, Keith Johnson, Jeff Gibson. 1, 2, 3, and 4, all riding blue, all riding two-strokes. Fifth place, Grant Langston, the former 125 world champion and current U.S. national champion, will have to go to the semi with everyone else.
Take a look back at the start. One of the surprises there, Doug Dehan had a great race. Only 2 out of qualifying. A lot of great action. The inside pass. Heath Voss not afraid to mix it up, and well, mixing up with Brown, he could be dangerous because he is a guy that can push around.
Mike Brown certainly known for that. And there you see what happened to Isaiah Johnson. He went down, and that left Heath Voss to take our win and get on the scoreboard first here at the Gelredome in Arnhem, Holland. Standing by with Heath Voss.
Yes, we always see this guy on the podium during Supercross season, but Heath, I'll tell you what, you made that pass on Browning. That's not an easy thing to do.
No, I didn't get the best start. I think I come out like 7th or 8th, and the whoops are really big tonight, and my trainer back in San Antonio's got me built up, and I'm strong, and I think I can take them.
You're riding like you got something to prove out there. Usually we see you go through the pack, but not that fast.
Yeah, I mean, I worked real hard this offseason, building some strength up for the 450, and I think I'm ready. I can't wait for Anaheim.
All right, you heard it. Heath Voss, the Warrior.
4 riders have qualified for the main event here in THQ World Supercross GP from Arnhem, Holland. Taking a look at our 250cc Heat 2. Again, 4 riders will advance. Daryl Hurley, the Cinderella winner last week. He is on a Suzuki, and so is 58 Tyler Evans, 42 Steve Boniface, and 32 Andrew Short. Then it's Joe Aloff and Craig Anderson on 4-stroke Hondas. Yamaha mounted Craig Schnell is number 52. Damon Huffman will be number 20. And then Eric Vallejo, John Sebastian Wall, Perrick Paget, a newcomer to THQ World Supercross. Jay Marmon, keep an eye on him. He is number 81. Ernesto Fonseca, the Team Honda factory rider from Costa Rica. He was our fastest qualifier, or rather practice rider today, but he is going to go to the line 14th because he did not make the main event last week. Then it's Marco Kovalainen, Antoine Mio, Brian Mason, Ted Campbell, and Marcus Mauser. The 30-second board goes up. In 30 seconds, they will light off the line. Cameron, you have to think that Ernesto Fonseca is the favorite, although last time we thought it'd be Langston.
Well, for sure, Ernesto has been on fire, more than a second faster than anybody else. But the story really is last week's winner, Daryl Hurley, in the final practice, he was the 27th fastest rider. Maybe a little bit of nerves, maybe the pressure, all the media attention, everybody saying, hey, you were going to switch down to the 125s. Are you going to ride the 250s the whole time? You can be the world champion. I think it might be getting to him just a little bit, and he's already quite a guy as we see the gate ready to drop.
That is number 46, Hurley. Keep an eye on him, and there goes Fonseca right up the middle. Number 24, you can see him get a good start, a little bit to the outside, and right away establishes himself as the leader. Ernesto Fonseca, the teammate of Ricky Carmichael and our fastest rider in practice. Coming out of the corner, Fonseca with a big lead. We had a couple riders mix it up and go down. You see him at the back of the pack, but out front, coming down through the whoops, it is Fonseca.
We had a chance to go to dinner with Ernesto, and he seems so calm and collected. You might say, oh, maybe there's more pressure because Ricky's not around to, take that pressure from the team. And everybody says, hey, Ernie, you're going to win, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him one bit right now, right out in front. And you see him, the whoops so many guys are having a hard time with. He has been blitzing all day.
It also looks like his mechanic, Kenny Germain, and Shane Drew of the Honda team did a good job of getting that bike back into shape because it was a mess after the race in Spain.
Well, right now, Craig Anderson running second after the first lap, and Daryl Hurley, the guy I talked about, not having great lap times, but great lap times don't always mean a heat win or placing. Daryl proving right now that racing is different than practice. As you see, Craig Anderson and Daryl Hurley, these are two guys that have raced against each other before. Craig from Australia, Daryl from New Zealand, no strangers to each other. In fact, I believe they went first and second in the Australian Supercross Series just a year ago.
Well, check it out right now. Of the top riders, 1 through 4 will go to the main event. And if the race ran right now, they are all international riders. No one from the United States. Ernesto Fonseca, the leader. Craig Anderson is second. Daryl Hurley is third. And Perrick Paget holds down fourth. The top American at this point, believe it or not, is Andrew Short, who is in 5th place.
Andrew Short was a guy we were talking about that could win in Spain. He could win here also. He had the second fastest lap times in practice. Right now, he's using those lap times to move up. We'll see if he can get up ahead of his two teammates who are actually leading him, as we see Ernesto Fonseca with a comfortable lead over Craig Anderson.
Anderson, of course, is moved over from the Yamaha of Troy team to the Motorsports Outlet Honda team. He went from a 4-stroke Yamaha to a big 4-stroke 450 Honda. But Fonseca, your leader, he is still on the CR250, and you could see him get through those whoops in a hurry.
Craig Anderson was actually saying that he's sometimes a little timid on the bike. He's still not completely used to it, but he's so surprised at what he can do on the bike. He says, I can do things I never thought I really would want to do, and it makes it comfortable on this bike.
And taking a look at our leader, of course, Ernesto Fonseca, one part of the Honda team, the big rider, the big number 4, Ricky Carmichael, could not come. He injured himself in testing, so he is sitting out. But how much do you think Carmichael helped Fonseca get ready for this race?
Well, I mean, anytime you can ride with arguably the best rider in history of motorcycle racing, I'm sure that training together has made a huge difference for Ernesto. You can see the confidence in his riding, and especially in the whoops. So definitely a huge payoff being able to ride with RC all the time. And right now, a Moto World Freight Train starting in 3rd place. Daryl Hurley, followed by Boniface, and then Short.
All three coming into the corner together. Those are Paul Lindsay's boys, 3 Suzuki RM250s. Right now, Hurley holds the advantage. Then you see Boniface. Then you see Short. And actually, Short has now passed his way into a qualifying spot.
On the joyous days of Bowl Week, my TV gives to me the best college games you'll ever see. There's nothing else like Bowl Week, a Yuletide fantasy. Tailbacks, the sweeping quarterbacks, the throwing whistles, the falling head coaches screaming, fourth down and long. 3 wise men, 2 overtime, fans, football feast. It's the best week on TV.
Capital One Bowl Week begins Monday, December 22nd on ESPN.
That's a tough one. I would probably have to lean towards Reed because of his performance he put on, you know, the last half of the season last year, and he seems really comfortable. He seems like he's got his bike working good, and that has a lot to do with it. So I would lean towards him, but if you go towards who rode good in the outdoor and going into a new season, I'd say Wyndham, because I know his bike is good, and that guy can ride. So, man, I don't know. That's a tough one. You know, Reed can win a bunch. Villeman, I know, is capable of it. I know Wyndham is. I think that Fonseca could pull off a win this year. Mike LaRocco has a good chance. Ezra Luss does. Tim Ferry. I mean, those are 8 guys right there that are capable of winning, depending on what kind of start the better riders get. So it could be interesting. I just want to see a good season, you know.
Down through the rhythm section, 1, 2, and 3. Actually, as the results go, that is 3, 4, and 5. But only 2 of those Suzukis will qualify for the main event if things stand the way they are. There you see Craig Anderson down through the whoops. He's your 2nd place rider. And Short goes by Hurley for 3rd.
Andrew at breakfast this morning said, I just want to win this thing. I think it's time for me to step it up, and his speeds have been shown all day. I think he was a little frustrated with the Friday practice. When we got here Saturday, it was all business, and he has been game on from the word go this morning.
There you see Boniface. He is right now holding down 5th place. That would not get him into the main event. Again, only the top 4 riders will qualify. Everyone else will have to go to the semi. And here comes Andrew Short on the inside of Anderson. Short moves up, sticks a wheel, and just like that, Andrew Short goes to number 2.
And a tech move there by Short, because he has been tripling into that corner, maybe going wide. That time he elects to double and then single into the corner and hold the line to hold Anderson out of it.
Out front, Fonseca has opened up a lead of 3.5 seconds. Your 2nd place rider is now Andrew Short. Craig Anderson, number 30 on the Honda, holds on to 3rd, and then it's Darrell Hurley, the surprise winner of the opening round of THQ World Supercross GP. Right now, he would qualify directly to the main event, but he's got to hold off that man, number 42, Steve Boniface.
And Boniface, you can see him coming off in the whoops, his legs. I asked him about his style. He calls it the Bonnie style, or actually I did. He rides with his back really straight up and down, and when you see him take his legs off in the whoops, he never gets concerned. I asked him about it in practice. He said, oh, just hold on the gas and keep going, but he actually says it with a French accent.
So right now, the battle is for the 4th and final transfer spot here in the second 250cc semi from the Gelredome in Arnhem, Holland. You're watching THQ World Supercross GP, and now Boniface is really starting to apply the pressure.
About a lap and a half left. Fonseca still in front, but Craig Anderson still leading these guys. Boniface sneaking up. I think these guys may push each other is what it started to look like and get up past Craig. Maybe Craig saw him right there in his rearview mirror and wicked it up just a notch as we see Ernesto continuing to dominate. There you see a triple in the middle of that rhythm section. He's looking awesome tonight.
And Fonseca has now doubled the size of the lead since we last mentioned it. He is up to 6 seconds. Actually, right there, it shows 4.5 seconds. Ernesto Fonseca getting through the whoops, keeping his A game on, and it's got to feel good. Right there, almost a little mistake, but it's got to feel good for Ernesto, not qualifying last week, and now he's out front, setting the fastest laps, looking invincible.
What's key about that miscue he had is he didn't just panic and all of a sudden gas it and try to keep going or get the double, and for sure not that little triple. He just rolled it and got back into it, and right now the final lap.
Over the finish line, Ernesto Fonseca, no nonsense. He takes the win. He will go directly to the main event. Andrew Short will finish second. Craig Anderson is third, and Darrell Hurley is able to hold off his teammate Boniface and go directly to the main event. So the top 4 transfer directly to the main event. Fonseca, Short, Anderson, and Hurley. But a little further back, some very big names. Steve Boniface didn't make it. Jay Marmot didn't make it. Damon Huffman did not make it. And Tyler Evans on the podium last week for the first time in Supercross in the 250 class. He will have to go to the semi. Taking a look at our results from the second 250cc heat. Again, it's number 24, Ernesto Fonseca out front. Short is second. The Australian Craig Anderson is third. And New Zealand's Darrell Hurley gets the 4th and final transfer spot.
As the gate drop, we talked about getting to the start right away, getting out in front. Ernesto gets the jump and starts to move over. Bike moving around a little bit in the whoops, but he holds it on. Ernesto looked great all moto long. This man was the man on the bubble, the 46, as we see Ernesto taking the checker flag, a solid performance as we get ready to do a little bit of track maintenance here.
It's got to feel good for these guys to finally be in the dry after last week's epic mutter in Seville, Spain. Everyone seemed a little tentative at first, but now everyone is back in the dry. They're back where they're comfortable, and I believe Jamie Little now has our winner, Ernesto Fonseca.
Davey, you guys were talking about it. He didn't qualify in Seville, and then tonight he jumps out and takes home heat number 2 win. That has to be a huge monkey off your back, Ernesto.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's the first race of the year, pretty much real race of the year, which the other one was the Mud Fest, and it was super tough. You were pretty much just trying to survive out there, and you know, well, it's part of the deal, I guess, and I didn't make it to the main, but had a good start. My Honda was working great, and you know, hopefully I'll get another one of those in the main event.
Ernie, real quick, you're the first rider we've seen tonight quadding that rhythm section. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, but you know, just trying to make it as consistent as I can, and try to pull away from the second place guys. Andrew was riding really good, and what can I say? I just want a good start, and hopefully strong 20 laps.
Ernesto definitely has his work cut out for him. He's 25 points down right now.
Don't forget, the next round of THQ World Supercross GP will be coming to you from Anaheim's Edison International Field. And that'll be on Saturday, January 3rd. But you can see the action the very next day on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Showtime begins at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And don't forget, you can also see the events later that week on Thursday night, both 125 and 250cc racing on ESPN2. Now, let's go down to our Suzuki question of the week.
I have the Suzuki question of the week. This is for Darrell Hurley. How did you celebrate this week after your first Supercross 250 main event win?
Thanks for asking. After the main, basically, went back and took a shower and cleaned up, but I can never sleep after a night race anyway, so I would have been lying in bed, so we decided to go into town, and I had a new mechanic for the weekend. It's the first time he'd worked for me, so I took him out on the town, and we went to a few bars and then did a little bit of sightseeing, and I think we got home at maybe 5 or 6 in the morning, but that was okay, and we had a good night and checked out the sights of Seville, and that was about all. So yeah, I guess that's all I did. Thanks for asking the Suzuki question of the week.
You are watching THQ World Supercross GP from Holland, and when we come back, it's more qualifying for the 250s. GP, it's time to go back down to the floor where Jamie Little is standing by.
I'm back in the pits now with Isaiah Johnson, and they have put a new set of bars on. But first of all, great riding, and second of all, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. You know, it just kind of sucks to have that happen 2 laps from the end. You know, my triple clamps took a little spill, but you know, that's why we come over here early to get all the bugs worked out. But you know, I'll put some new triple clamps on and go back out there and do it again. So
we'll see you in semi 1.
Yeah, I'll be out there.
Hard charger, he's okay 100%, and so is his bike.
Taking a look at our 250cc semi #1 lineup, the top 5 riders will go to the main event, and right there at the top of the list, number 8, Grant Langston. Doug DeHaan is 79, Shane Boyd 71, Jason Thomas 38, Clark Stiles 34, and Ryan Clark number 43. Cameron, we saw him go over the first turn.
Ryan Clark had a shocker last week, and this week I know he wants to step it up, and not going to be able to do it if he has those kind of problems like he did in the heat. But right now it's time for the semi, and the gate is racked up. The boys are ready to rock, and pretty soon we're going to have the 30-second board.
Now the 30-second board is up. You see the riders getting ready. They will go 8 laps in this semi, and the top 5 riders will transfer to the main event. They'll join the top 4 from each of the heat races. There will be another semi after this. This is the 250cc semi #1. Top 5 riders will make it to the main event here in THQ World Supercross GP. The card goes sideways. You're getting a look. That's Doug DeHaan right in front of you. Shane Boyd on the KTM on the right. And there they go. A good start. And it looks like it's going to be...
Looks like it's going to be Jason Thomas on the 38 bike moving to the front right away. A good start. We also see Isaiah Johnson towards the front of the pack. We'll
see if he can get as good of a start as he got in the first race. By no means, but he is up there. And again, he has to get in the top 5. Jason Thomas on the Motorsports Outlet Honda, already gap in the field just a little bit. He hails from Florida. And then you see number 79 a little further back, and that is Doug DeHaan from Canada.
Awesome Supercross rider. He's been riding over here in the German Supercross series, and so no stranger to the Supercross track, someone we didn't see in Seville, and he's not a guy that's regularly on the circuit. He will join us a few times in the United States, but a regular fixture in Canada and Europe. And right now, the number 48 bike also mixing it up.
That's the Czech rider Dobbs. As you can see, 1 lap is in the book. So it's Thomas at the front. Dion is number 79 is in second. Isaiah Johnson is third. Shane Boyd. And check it out, Grant Langston has moved into a qualifying position, but 5th place is not where we expected to see the 125 national champion.
You see him on an outside move there in that berm, and then looking over on the triple, racing with probably some guys he's not familiar with racing with right now in this semi.
Raphael Bedouin.
Definitely someone he hasn't been banging bars with, but he's felt good all day, and I think he's probably a little frustrated with how things have been going so far tonight. I mean, obviously, he was one of the faster guys in practice. You see him negotiating the whoops, doing a great job back on the balls of his toes there, and making move forward is where he wants to go, and he's chasing down right now Shane Boyd, our surprise heat race winner in heat number 1 in the mud last week in Seville.
Yeah, Shane Boyd was one of the big surprises, but of course Grant Langston was the top place in KTM, came this close from getting KTM his first ever 250 Supercross win. He came up just short, and of course the winner was MotorWorldRacing.com's Darrell Hurley. There you see Langston moving up next to the Australian Shane Boyd, and he goes by him. Right there, that's just Supercross experience.
A great job. Shane Boyd actually races quite a bit of Supercross down under in Australia, and you can see the guys, all of our leaders right there together, and Jason Thomas, who's been having a good go in those whoops all day. It looks like he had to try to time him a little bit. He dropped down into him and maybe session him like a set of doubles or triples.
Yeah. halfway through. Actually, this is a 6-lap semi. Halfway through 6 laps, again, the top 5 riders will qualify, and that's Doug DeHaan right there. He's your second-place rider. You see Jason Thomas get out of that corner quickly, and now Langston has moved into third. We took his eye off him, and he was able to get by Isaiah Johnson, and now he's starting to put the pressure on the Honda of DeHaan.
Well, DeHaan, as you said, experienced, but not normally racing at the level with guys like Grant Langston, so we're expecting Grant should be able to set him up and pick him off. We'll see if he can do just that as we head into the triple, getting back into these super technical whoops when they make this left turn.
There you see DeHaan, number 79, Langston coming down on the inside. And he's not able to get the drive right there, so Langston continues to hold on to third as another lap goes down in the books here in the Gelredome in Arnhem, Holland.
Well, we've been getting quite a bit of practice and more racing, as you see right now. Langston looking for his move, but you see DeHaan going for that triple in the middle there. It didn't end up working out for him because Grant got the inside line on, but you saw where they were going, 2 different ideas. One guy tripling, one guy doubling. They get to the corner, Langston gets it.
Langston was on the inside, so Langston moves into second. The question is, does he have enough time to catch Florida's Jason Thomas? So it's, or rather, Thomas first, Langston second, DeHaan, then Johnson and Shane Boyd. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those are the riders that will qualify directly to the main event from this first 250 semi.
And the white flag is out for Jason Thomas. You can see him maybe cross-riding just a little bit. We talked about the soft dirt. The whoops will be breaking down, but the face of that finish line, it's a real G out. It means they get right down in, and they're going to bottom out the suspension going off of it, and their pegs could be dragging. That's how deep the ruts could get there.
Look how much Grant Langston has reeled in Jason Thomas. He does not look like he wants to settle for second. Both these riders will qualify, but it looks like Langston wants to get on the podium. There he goes down the inside, very close to the tough blocks. Thomas holds the line over the double. They'll have another triple, a small section of whoops, and then the big whoops. And he's going to make a pass, Cameron. He's going to have to do it right now coming down through this whoop section.
And Langston just a little short on that triple is giving Thomas a little bit of space. Both guys dropping into the whoops, not able to get a full run. It looks like it's going to be Jason Thomas winning this semi.
There's your checkered flag. Thomas takes the win. Langston is second. And then you have DeHaan, Johnson, and then it's number 43, Ryan Clark, snatches 5th place away from Shane Boyd. So 5 more riders qualify for the main event. Jason Thomas on the Motorsports Outlet Honda takes the win over Grant Langston in our first 250 semi. It was a 6-lap semi, rather Subway Honda rider Jason Thomas. Doug DeHaan is third, Isaiah Johnson is fourth, and Ryan Clark holds on to 5th. So there's your Thor semi-1 results. Subway Honda rider Jason Thomas takes the win. Grant Langston on the Red Bull KTM is second. Doug DeHaan finishes third. Isaiah Johnson will make the main event. He got back out there for 4th. And rounding out the top 5 is Team Solitaires, Ryan Clark. Shane Boyd will have to go to the semi with the rest of the, rather the last chance qualifier with the rest of the field. Now let's go down to Jamie Little with our winner, Jason Thomas.
Jason Thomas keeping it exciting. Jason, did you know Grant Langston was on your tail?
Yeah, I knew it was coming a little bit, but I just had to focus forward, you know. If I worry about him, then I'll start making mistakes. And I felt good, you know. He wasn't really pressuring me too much. Just for the last lap, I was a little tight. But you know, the main event, I just need another start like that, and hopefully I'll be up here again.
Hey, that's probably the best I've seen you ride in a long time.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It feels good. I've been working hard. As soon as Steel City Outdoor was over, I rode every day, Supercross, just trying to be ready, and I think I'll be ready come Anaheim.
I think Jason Thomas is going to be ready for the main coming up.
5 more riders have made the grade here in Arnhem, Holland for the THQ World Supercross GP. We have another semi coming up, and then our last chance qualifier. Also, stay tuned for word from both Ricky Carmichael and Chad Reed back in America, and then it's our 20-lap main event from Arnhem, Holland. We'll be right back. Floor and check in with Jamie Little.
250 semi number 2 is just about to get started, but before we do, we caught up with some riders earlier and asked them what the best Christmas present ever was that they gave to someone.
The best gift that I've ever given anyone, probably the thing that stands out the most is the first time I ever bought gifts for everyone. was I got all the grandmas and aunts these Jingle Bell necklaces, and I felt so good because they all wore it that Christmas and the next Christmas too, so that one probably stands out the most. Probably about 8 years old or something.
I wrote my mom a poem how much I appreciated her, and I think that's the best. That's what she told me that her favorite thing I've ever given her was, so I guess that would be my favorite as well.
Best gift I've ever given is love. That's what I got. I got love for everybody.
Taking a look at our second 250 semi. Again, the top five riders will qualify directly to the main event. Steve Boniface is 42. Keep an eye on Jay Marmot, number 81. He is from Australia. And Damon Huffman, number 20, the veteran of the Moto XXX Honda team.
Well, Damon Huffman actually one of only 2 riders here that have won a 250cc main event. Of course, Darrell Hurley last week in Seville, and Damon there in Atlanta a few years back. So look and see if he can keep it together. Also, Tyler Evans in the field, a guy that, you know, was feeling like he was going to go out and win more heats as he did in Seville, and obviously some problems in his heat race put him in the semi.
The riders will go off that start. It's a very short start into a left-handed corner. We've seen a couple pile-ups. Guys going off the track, and a start is very important here in this semi. It's only 6 laps, so you got to get off the gate. Going out into the hay bales and the tough blocks is going to make it even harder to qualify for the main event. As soon as the board goes sideways, the riders will have between 3 and 5 seconds. You see them looking down at the gate any second now, and there they go. And coming up on the inside, it looks like Huffman had the whole shot, but no, it's number 84, and that is a big surprise. That is Perric Paget. The Frenchman takes the whole shot. Huffman second. There you see Boniface in third, and the rest of the pack goes around. Everyone gets through the first turn clean, but Paget, that is a guy we did not expect to see out front.
Definitely not. Some new faces, or newer faces to us, we're not really familiar with. We see a lot of familiar names there. One guy I also want to point out, the 81, he talked about Marmont. He is the Supercross champion from Australia, and he has been on fire. A lot of people surprised with his riding skill, and right now it looks like we may have a challenge for the lead. Damon Huffman looking for a go.
Down through the whoops they go. Huffman tries the outside. Paget holds him up, and there's Marmon battling with Boniface for the 3rd place position. 1 lap is in the books. Paget continues to lead Huffman. Then it's Boniface, Marmon, and Tyler Evans. The top 5 riders will qualify and join the rest of the guys in the main event. Everyone else will have to go to the last chance qualifier. And there you caught a glimpse of 81. That's Marmon, but back to the front of the field. Paget continues to hold the lead.
Well, I'm a little surprised right now with Damon Huffman. With all the experience that he has in Supercross, he seems to keep getting himself on the outside of the leader. Why he's not trying to find a way to get that inside line, maybe back off just a little bit, find a spot to get him, but he continues to go outside, where it gives the leader, Paget, the room to hold each line, and once again, it looks like he's going to line up on the outside, and will it work for him?
Oh, and that time it did. He scooted around quickly, but you're right, Cameron. He put himself in a very vulnerable position. If that had been Mike Brown, he would have been way out over the top blocks. But as it is, Huffman takes the lead. Paget is second. Another Frenchman, Steve Boniface, is third. Marmont holds on to 4th. And then Tyler Evans, you see him right there, number 58 on the outside, is your 5th place rider. Eric Vallejo is 74. And if the results would stand as the way they are right now, Vallejo would not make the main event. He'd have to go to the LCQ. So keep an eye on 74 right there on that Yamaha. He is on the bubble.
Well, right now, Tyler Evans has been definitely trying to get around. You see Tyler struggling to get over that triple. He's been working on Marmont, but Marmont also working on Paget, and maybe a move here.
Paget goes outside in on Marmont, holds on to that spot, but now Marmont's going to go the long route again. He's making the track longer for himself, and he almost opens the door to Tyler Evans, and then Paget comes through, triples on the inside, and it looks like he's going to hold it. You're right, he held it. When you're on the inside, you tend to control the action, but this time, Evans goes around Marmont, and he pulls up behind Paget. Oh, and Eric Vallejo gives a little love tap to Jay Marmont. Welcome to THQ World Supercross GP. Oh, now Evans goes down. Evans gets out into Paget. Evans goes down. He is now back to 7th and even 8th. Tyler Evans on the podium last week at Seville, Spain, has got his work cut out for him now.
Well, Tyler Evans definitely no stranger to the block pass. As we look there at the 57 bike, Greg Schnell also mixing it up. we'll get the full count on how they're running as they go through the finish line there. Taking a look at Marmont, he's actually going to get a little bit of a breather with those two guys going down.
So Damon Huffman's your leader, then Boniface, Marmont, Joe Aloff, and Eric Vallejo here in the second semi. Jay Marmont right now is actually your third place rider. A big change as he gets through the whoops. He is in a qualifying position. That's Joe Aloff. You see number 57, and then there's your battle for 6 between Vallejo and Schnell.
And Schnell actually getting by there at that corner. We'll see if he can make it stick and stay ahead of Vallejo. And those tough whoops, moving the bikes around as these guys get more and more tired through the night, could cause problems. You want to transfer straight to the main as quick as you can. And well, Damon Huffman couldn't do it in his heat race, but right now a commanding lead here in this semifinal.
Damon Huffman out front by about 4.5 seconds. He crashed in the whoops earlier today, had to shake it off. It looks like he's okay. He is your leader here in this second 250 semi. The number 2 rider is Steve Boniface on the MotorWorldRacing.com Suzuki. Jay Marmont holds on to third, and then it's Aloff and Schmel. Those guys would be your qualifiers when the checkered flag falls out if there's no change. Right now, it's the final lap. Huffman through the whoops, bounding on the big CRF 450R. One more jump to go. And there's the checkered flag for Damon Huffman. Boniface is next. Then comes Marmont, Aloff, and then it is Greg Schnell who takes 5th. Tyler Evans, your 6th place rider. He will have to go to the LCQ along with Peric Pache, your early leader.
Damon Huffman put down a couple wins actually in Europe in off-season Supercross racing. Actually getting a win in Spain, not in the main event where we were last week, but he did do it in another race there, a smaller Supercross race, and also gaining a win in Portugal. So he was over here training and working, and this may be paying off for him.
So take a look at our Thor Semi 2 results. Damon Huffman is your winner. Steve Boniface, Jay Marmont, Joe Aloff, and Greg Schnell will go straight to the main event. Everyone else will have to ride in our LCQ, and that includes Tyler Evans. Now let's go down to the field where Jamie Little is standing by with our semi-winner Damon Huffman.
And Damon kept it exciting in the beginning, Damon, but you checked out with no time at all. Tell me about it.
Oh yeah, I checked out. Had a good start. The 450, we got it working really nice right now, so that's the main thing, is getting out of the first turn up front. And you can just ride your own race and ride smooth, and I want to do it in the main.
Hey, you're not too familiar with those riders you're battling with out there. They surprise you?
I know a couple of them, but I'm no stranger to being over here in Europe and have a lot of fun over here and just looking to have fun the rest of the night.
Hey, and by the way, welcome back to the podium.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Happy guy, Damon Huffman. Been around a long time.
The next time you see THQ World Supercross GP, it will be from the capital of the Supercross world, Anaheim, California. And you could see 125cc action on Thursday, January 8th at 3 p.m., followed by the 250cc program. That'll air at 4 o'clock. And don't forget, next day coverage of the Anaheim Supercross. That's January 4th on ABC's Wide World of Sports, 4 p.m. Eastern. THQ World Supercross GP. We're at the Gelredome in Arnhem, Holland. Now, the United States is known for motocross, and so is Belgium. And last month, the two met for the Motocross the Nations.
World Supercross GP may be the biggest supercross racing in Europe, but when it comes to outdoor motocross, no event rivals the Motocross the Nations. This year, Ricky Carmichael led Team USA in a battle against 7-time world motocross champion Stefan Everts on his home turf in Zolder, Belgium. Even the King of Belgium came out to watch the team of Everts, Joel Smets and Steve Ramon, try to beat the Americans. When the starting gate dropped on the single moto format, everything looked good for Belgium, as Team USA's Carmichael, Ryan Hughes, and Tim Ferry all got off to bad starts while the Belgians led the way. Carmichael fought through the pack, earning fans along the way with his aggressive riding, and soon he was within sight of number 4 Everts, who earlier in the year had set a record for winning 72 career GP races. Once Carmichael was able to clear the pack, it was time to go after Everts. Everts could not have asked for a better setup. It was on his track, in front of his fans, his countrymen. But Carmichael was relentless. As the moto wound down, Everts went outside in one corner, and that's all it took for Carmichael to move ahead. From there, Carmichael would ride off with his first Motocross of the Nations win since 2000. However, things would not work out so well for Team USA. After Belgium, Steve Ramon went into the pits. America had a chance at the win, but Tim Ferry fell twice, and Ryan Hughes was stuck by the side of the track with a broken chain. But at the front of the pack, Carmichael was able to establish himself as the dominant motocross rider on the planet, running off with the overall win. Unfortunately, the team win would be left to Everts and the Belgians. In the end, it was a good day for both of these champions. Carmichael had his overall win, and Everts had won in front of his king.
You know, Stefan's a very good rider, and with it being in his home country, he's riding very good. So, you know, I'm not mad or anything the way the day went. I think it went good. I know my teammates did the best that they can do, and, you know, you can only do what you can do yourself.
The win signaled a return to motocross triumph for Belgium and their team manager, Joel Robert, himself a 6-time champion. But in the end, it was Stefan's day.
Winning in front of the king is something really special. It's the first time, you know, he's here, and I'm so proud, you know, to win. Also, I'm happy for Steve and Joel. Yeah, it's been a tough race. Ricky rode strong, and I think we had the best team, and yeah, we won the Motocross of the Nations, and that's the most important thing. So I'm really happy.
Well, the Belgians got to celebrate a popular win with their fans. Team USA went home as the runner-ups, but they will get another chance next year when the 2004 Motocross of the Nations take place in Lierop, Holland.
Now, let's go down to the stadium floor where Jamie Little is standing by with a special guest.
Many of you probably recognize the gentleman standing next to me, Mr. Garrett Wilsink from the 1970s, back in the day with Roger DeCoster on ABC's Wide World of Sports. What a history you have with Supercross and motocross. Tell me a little bit about yours and Roger's day.
It's a long history, but, you know, I was the lucky one who won the Carlsbad GP 5 times and made me a hero in the States, and I beat Roger always in the States. He hated me for that, but we were teammates, so it was for Suzuki, and that were great times.
And you were also, listen to this, the first man to ever bring Supercross to Europe. When was that?
In 1980, I was impressed by the American scene, and I decided with my partner to bring it to Europe, to Amsterdam for the first time, and we did it for 10 years, and from there a lot of other people tried to do it.
So what exactly are you doing in the World Supercross GP right now?
I'm working still in the federation. I work on the Dutch side of it to make Dorna and Clear Channel and the Americans happy. So we keep this event for the future in Holland.
Well, we're having a good time, and thanks so much for all that you do. It's always fun to take a blast back into the past.
We've already heard from 10-time champion Ricky Carmichael. When we come back, it's time to talk to the man who could be king, Team Yamaha's Chad Reed.
No body slams, just an innocent game of pool, and just put my arm on the table and went to take my shot, and for some reason just fell out. And then it was, you know, it was a hard thing to sell it to my team manager. I know that for a fact. I called him up the next morning and I said, "Hey Jimmy, got some bad news," and you know, he's kind of, you know, he took it, and you know, 5 minutes later, he called me back, and he says, "Well, you never called me back, so is this serious?" I'm like, for one, I don't ever joke about being injured or injuring myself. It's something that I think is bad karma, and, you know, it was definitely a hard thing to sell. I think that I now have the record over Pastrana now. He did it swimming in the pool, I did it playing pool. So, Travis, what do you got for me now?
While I'm sure Travis wants no part of that challenge, it was Ricky Carmichael who was supposed to do battle with Reed for the title. However, both Supercross stars suffered injuries in the same week.
You know, 3 days before I did my shoulder, you know, Ricky did his knee, and I had thousands and thousands of people calling me wanting to, you know, hear what I thought about it. And I was honestly really disappointed. I really felt sorry for Ricky. I know how much Ricky puts into his racing, and I mean, any injury to any of us, you know, never known somebody that works really, really hard, and somebody who I love to race. You know, every time you race Ricky, you know that you've got to be ready to race, and that's the fun thing about it. And it was really, really sad. I felt, you know, kind of sad for him, and then, you know, 3 nights later, here I am, feeling exactly how he felt, and you know, fortunately, you know, it looks like I can make the season, and Ricky can't. So, you know, for me, I think that I'm in a little better position, but, you know, I'm definitely going to miss racing Ricky this season in Supercross.
Now it's time for the 250cc last chance qualifier. Only the top 2 riders will advance to the main event. Check it out. Tyler Evans, Shane Boyd are in there. Ted Campbell's in there. Clark Stiles, John Sebastian Waugh. A lot of talent down there. All but 2 are going to go home empty-handed in this really quick race. It's going to be 6 laps, and then we will have our main event field set at 20. You see the riders waiting. It's been a long afternoon here in Arnhem, Holland. For some, this will be it. The board is sideways. You see them eyeing the gate, and the start is going to mean everything. And there they go. And it looks like it's going to be coming in from the outside, out in the hay. Oh, a big pile up on the outside. You see, that's Eric Vallejo, number 74 from Mexico. He will not be making it into the 250 main event. What a tough break. Check it out, Cameron.
The guy's just getting so on the gas. We talked about it being a tight corner. Some guys making it through, but in the middle of the pack, someone ahead gets T-boned, pushed off the track. Eric Vallejo, one of the guys that is unfortunately all the way at the back of the pack. We can't say he won't make it because you never know what's going to happen. But right now, the guys out front.
Well, I can tell you, he is not going to make it because he's going to have to get through Damian Plotz, our leader. Shane Boyd is second on the KTM, and Tyler Evans is third. Again, only 2 riders will make it to the main event. Plotz, your leader. Then comes Boyd, then comes Evans. Clark Stiles is 4th. John Sebastian Waugh is 5th. And you might see some very aggressive racing here as Boyd swings to the outside, comes along the inside. He's got the advantage, pushes out a little bit, and now Shane Boyd from Australia moves into the lead. And now Evans on the gas coming down the outside. He has got to get around Damian Plotz if he's going to make it to the main event.
And Damian Plotz has been in Europe racing the German Supercross Series, warming up. And Tyler Evans looking on the inside, a battle for second. And Tyler giving it to him, but not giving it to him too hard. He's known Damian for a long time.
Gives him a little bit of that metal militia muscle. So Evans moves into second. And now, check it out, Clark Stiles is starting to put the screws to Damian Plotz, comes along the inside. This is the battle for third. Stiles makes the pass, tries a different rhythm section there, or a different rhythm through that section, gets by to third, but now he's got to catch these 2 guys, Shane Boyd and Tyler Evans.
And Davey, ironically enough, these are our 2 heat winners from last week. They're in the LCQ, and if they don't transfer here, I mean, they've gone from hero to 0 really quick.
Boyd, for a lot of you who might not know who he is an Australian, but right now he's Chad Reed's roommate out in California. He will ride in Australia in 2004, but after that, Shane told us that he hopes to come to America. That's a lifelong dream, but if he doesn't make this 250cc main event, it might take a little longer. But right now, he is halfway through the last chance qualifier. He is your leader. Evans is 58, and Tyler just got a little close to the tough blocks there on the outside.
Both Tyler and Ernesto Fonseca, the only 2 guys quadding into that section at times. We haven't seen Tyler do it yet in the races. We did see it in practice, but this is where Tyler has to be smart. We know that Tyler can bang. He's making a move up the inside here, looking to see if he can get by Boyd, but he wants to be careful. He doesn't want to get in a tangle, an altercation, and at the same time, Boyd needs to be aware that Tyler's the guy behind him that isn't afraid to put some muscle on you. And let's not forget the Alabama Slammer, or Gigantor as his team calls him. He's a big guy. Clark Stiles on the 34 bike running in 3rd place right now. If these guys get together and mix it up, Clark Stiles could be winning this thing and going to the main.
Well, he's only got 2 laps left to make it. Now check it out. Evans sweeps outside. Here's that big jump. He goes 4, 2, and 4. Wow, that was a nice move. Very impressive by Tyler Evans. He goes into the lead, and that's exactly what you're talking about, Cameron.
Tyler set it up perfectly. He knew it was a faster line. He'd been doing it in practice, but not every single time. And wow, we see Shane Boyd getting squirrely in the whoops. He's got to keep it together. We're on the 4th lap. It's only 6 laps. Evans right now on the Monster Energy No Fear team. He is leading this thing, and I think he's probably a little bit nervous after winning the heat and now have to go through all these races. That's a lot of pressure to perform here.
I'm sure all these guys are. And of course, Shane Boyd last year was easily the fastest guy in qualifying in Seville, Spain. He was also looking really good in the main event after going down early. And here comes Evans sweeping once again. He doesn't do it all the way that time, but Boyd was a big story this week over here in Europe and back in America. A lot of people talking about him. Like I said, Chad Reed's new roommate. But now he is on the verge of not even qualifying if he loses this spot to Clark Stiles. He's got half a lap to go. All he needs to do is keep it straight, hold on to second, and stay in front of Clark Stiles.
Well, we actually saw Tyler Evans throw away a qualifying spot at the U.S. Open in the last chance qualifier. And so he definitely needs to hold it together right now as he goes into these last whoops. These are the tough ones. You can see him dropping in, but also the same thing happening to Shane Boyd. But that looks like how it's going to finish as they head for the checkered flag.
There it is. Tyler Evans and Shane Boyd round out our main event field here in THQ World Supercross GP. I tell you what, Shane Boyd honestly looks relieved. I know Chad Reed is watching back home in the United States. Shane Boyd makes the main event. And there you see Tyler Evans, the winner of the LCQ, steps up onto the podium. He will also make it. So Clark Stiles, Ted Campbell, Manuel Rivas, Damian Potts, and of course the rider we saw go down the first turn, Eric Vallejo. Their night is over here in Arnhem, Holland, as the 250 main event field is set for THQ World Supercross GP. As we take a look at our results in the last chance qualifier, Tyler Evans is the winner. Shane Boyd from Australia on the KTM is second, and that's really all that matters because those are the only 2 riders that will move on. As you take a look at the top 5 of the Thor 250cc last chance qualifying results, for Stiles, for Campbell, and for Rivas, their night is over. Let's go down to the stadium floor where Jamie Little is with a very relieved Tyler Evans.
And Tyler is only the 2nd rider we've seen tonight doing that quad. And Tyler, you did it beautifully, made that beautiful pass, and here you are on top of the podium.
Yeah, that was a little stressful going last chance. I'm able to do that quad, but I can't do it every lap because there's so many guys. They're taking the line, but if I get out there with Ernie, I'll be up there. I'll be doing it for sure.
Well, what happened tonight? It's not like you to have to go all the way to the LCQ.
Just a lot of bad luck. I crashed on the first turn of the first heat. And we're kind of playing dodgeball. The European guys aren't used to the Supercross track, so we got a big advantage, and they don't really know how to stick to one line. It's just because they're not used to Supercross.
Well, you guys, we have one more race coming up, and when it comes to Tyler Evans and Ernesto Fonseca, I think there's going to be some rubbing up there.
So the field is set here in Arnhem, Holland for our 20-lap main event. This is THQ World Supercross GP, and when we return, it's on your main event. Welcome back to Arnhem, Holland for THQ World Supercross GP. Everyone's getting in their seats because it's time for our 20-lap main event. We have qualified down from this field of Supercross riders. 20 riders will go at it as soon as we get them all lined up. Now it's time to go back down to the floor where Jamie Little is standing by.
The 250 main event is just about to get underway, but there is a downside to all of this. There's some riders that don't make it to the main. Riders like James Pavolny, Ted Campbell, and Brian Mason, some of the top privateers in America. They came all the way over to Europe for the first 2 races, and well, now they have to pack their bags, and we'll see them in Anaheim.
Well, this is it, your Suzuki final starting lineup, a 20-lap main event. Heath Voss and Ernesto Fonseca were the top riders out of the qualifiers. Mike Brown, Andrew Short, Isaiah Johnson, Craig Anderson, Darrell Hurley, the winner of the opening round, THQ World Supercross GP. Jason Thomas, very quick on the Subway Honda. And don't forget about Grant Langston. He is number 8 on a KTM, and he will be trying for history tonight to be the first KTM rider ever to win a 250 main event. They are down on the line, and it should be an amazing 20 laps.
Well, Grant definitely had some of the faster lap times in practice, has looked good at times during the night, but not qualifying from his heat race has got to definitely leave a little bit of a thought there for the other guys that they may be able to beat Grant. Definitely one of the favorites here coming into Europe. He was a guy that raced in the outdoor motocross races here, and well, the 30-second board is up, Davey.
Any second now, the card will go sideways and we will be off. THQ World Supercross GP. We are in Arnhem, Holland at the Gelredome. The board goes sideways. 20 riders will try and squeeze into that tight first turn. You're looking over the shoulder of Heath Voss, and there they go off the start, and it looks like it's going to be from the outside. It's Marmont, number 81, the Australian on the KTM. There you see Langston mid-pack. There's Shane Boyd, another KTM, and just like that, Fonseca goes into the lead. Ernesto Fonseca is your leader, and I think Mike Brown is the number 2 rider. Yes, it's Mike Brown. So 2 of the pre-race favorites out front. The Honda factory rider Ernesto Fonseca, Yamaha of Troy's Mike Brown, and there you see the rest of the pack coming through. There's Andrew Short, not that great of a jump, and I do not see Heath Voss right away.
Well, when you saw Brownie make that pass for the second place, you saw him take the line from the other rider, put a little elbow in there, and right now making their way through the difficult whoops. This should sort the riders out, get them more into a single file, and we'll see how they come across the finish line here. It's Fonseca, Brown, and Damon Huffman.
A great start for Damon Huffman. Doug DeHaan, number 79, is 4th, and Jane Marmont is back in 5th. Short and Langston are 6 and 7. You're looking at Fonseca, and there they go through that real tight corner. You can see the track starting to deteriorate a little bit, but I got to give the Dirtworks crew a lot of credit. This track has seen a lot of laps, and it is in great condition. That is how the riders are going through the whoops. Fonseca is your leader, and gets a little far over the front end there, and you can see Brown and Huffman close up the gap just a little bit. None of these riders, well, at least the first and second place guys, have ever won a 250 main event. Damon Huffman knows his way to the winner's circle, but for Fonseca or Brown, it would be the first time. They have 18 laps to go as they come across the electronic scoring. Huffman trying an inside line, and there's Fonseca. You see him sweep to the outside, and that time he couldn't make it all the way through. He was trying to, that jump combination we saw, pretty risky, Cameron, but if you make it, a lot of time.
You saw him come up a little bit short on the quad, which made it so he had to single the next 2 jumps. Mike Brown staying with him. If you went purely by lap times, Ernesto Fonseca has clearly been the fastest rider. Right now, Damon Huffman looking for ways maybe in and out here with Mike Brown, showing him a wheel a couple times, and right now coming right up on his tail as we get ready to go into the difficult whoop section.
Again, this is a 20-lap main event. Huffman trying the line on the outside. They power through, and the big Honda gets a better jump, and Brown comes by on the inside. No contact, but Huffman probably had a pretty good idea that Mike Brown's not the guy you want to scrap with on a tight corner.
Probably a little surprised that he didn't feel a little bit or get a little bit of paint. Yellow flags waving there. Rider down. Looks like everybody is moving clearly through there, but Brownie has his rear view mirror full, and at this moment, Ernesto Fonseca getting a little bit of breathing room out front.
Back at the back of the pack, you saw the yellow flags come out. I think those are for Shane Boyd, the Australian rider, down on the side of track. Also Ryan Clark, one of the top privateers from the USA. So Fonseca is your leader. The Honda factory rider, the early favorite. See him going through the whoops there. Huffman is now 2nd. Brown is 3rd. This is a 20-lap main event. We're in the very early stages here in Arnhem, Holland.
Just 4 laps in, but if it kept going this way, we'd see 2 firsts ever from Ernesto Fonseca on this trip to Europe. First time he's ever missed a main event professional Supercross at Seville, Spain, and the first time ever winning a main event. And right now, as you can see, Damon Huffman has gotten around Mike Brown, and he's sitting in second place right now.
I know Fonseca would probably be much happier to go home on a bright note, leading the way. And right now, it seems like all he's got to do is keep moving forward, because some of the other top guys, Short is back in fourth, Langston is back in seventh, and Tyler Evans, who is a big surprise, he is back in eighth. And as for last week's winner, it looks like the glass slipper has completely fallen off the foot of Darrell Hurley. He is 15th place on the MotorWorldRacing.com Suzuki. Brown goes across the finish line. He is 5 laps, a quarter of the way into this 20-lap main event. He is holding on to third right now. That is your runner-up, Damon Huffman. He has one 250 Supercross main event win to his career. That was in Atlanta back when he was a Kawasaki factory rider. Been trying to get back ever since. He looks good right now in second, but Cameron, he has a long way to go. He's going to catch that factory Honda of Fonseca.
Well, Fonseca right now leading by over 3 seconds, and it looks to me like he's trying to set it up to pull away. Huffman has had some good laps tonight during the racing, but nowhere near the lap times of Ernesto Fonseca. As you see, Ernesto, wow, almost coming apart a little bit. He's been blitzing that tough, wider whoop section. I say wider, it means there's a little bit more of a gap in there than traditional whoops between whoops, and Ernesto dropping a wheel there, but looking solid right now. Awesome performance, a Moto XXX rider chasing.
Very nice through the rhythm section there. Cameron, you were talking earlier about how he had a tough time in Spain. That caused Fonseca to have to ride with all the other non-qualifiers all through practice here in Arnhem, Holland. And that was probably a tough situation for the factory rider, because there were some guys out there, as we heard Tyler Evans say earlier, that it was like dodgeball trying to stay out of the way.
Well, it could definitely be a disadvantage not being able to ride with the other factory riders who did qualify for the main, but it may be an advantage too, because those other riders didn't get a chance to look at Ernie's lines in practice.
There goes Huffman through the whoops. He is the second place rider. Like Fonseca, he did not have a very good ride in Spain. They don't get a lot of mud in Valencia, California, where he's from. And as for Andrew Short, right there, you saw him very briefly. He has moved up into third. So we've lost Mike Brown out of the top running. Mike Brown was in third, but now Andrew Short is into our third place position. Tyler Evans all the way from 8th to 5th. So a great ride for Evans. Langston is 5th, and Mike Brown has dropped back to 6th.
Andrew Short having a little bit of a timing issue there, going on the inside and doing 2 doubles. You can go outside and do a triple there, but there's a step and you're leaving the gate open to get a block pass on you. And Andrew blitzing the whoops nicely, holding on the gas. See if Tyler Evans has a chance to make a run at him, but right now it looks like Andrew getting some comfortable space there in third place.
Here you see Andrew does that inside line. Evans swings out wide. He's trying to do just like Fonseca, and here he comes up the inside. As we cut back to our leader, Ernesto Fonseca, but Tyler Evans has in fact made the move on Andrew Short. So to reset the field, it's Fonseca, Huffman, Tyler Evans from 8th to 3rd in 2 very quick laps, and that puts Andrew Short back and forth. But out front, Fonseca continuing to pull out that lead. Ernesto Fonseca on the factory Honda. He is from Costa Rica. He is a 2-time 125cc Supercross champion in the United States. Oh, and right there, Andrew Short came back and just put Tyler Evans on the ground. That was unexpected. Evans had made the pass for 3rd. Check it out, Cameron.
He left the door wide open, and Tyler, no stranger to rubbing, and right there he got the rub. Andrew Short on the Team Motor World Suzuki, coming in and showing him, hey, I may be young, but I'm ready to battle.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword, and that time it got Tyler Evans. So Fonseca is your leader, Huffman is 2nd, and Short is now back up to 3rd.
That's pretty amazing watching that, and now we see Ernesto Fonseca continuing to run through the whoops smoothly. Damon Huffman attempting to give chase. But right now, it's all Ernesto Fonseca, the Fonz as they call him.
You're looking at your 2nd place rider, Damon Huffman. We are in Arnhem, Holland, In THQ World Supercross GP is just getting ready to lap number 57, Joe Aloff, your leader. You see him right there at the end of the picture as we went past our Tissot timing. It is Ernesto Fonseca. So Hondas are 1 and 2, and our third place rider is Andrew Short. The veteran Huffman, Moto Triple X, a good start, but not been a very good trip to Europe so far for him.
It definitely was a little bit tough the first go-around, and Huffman's one of the lankier guys, taller guys on tour. He's not like a huge muscle, you know, upper body. Andrew Short, tougher, you know, a little bit stronger in the upper body. Which way will pay off? That's the question, but Damon always known for flowing around the track.
There's Huffman, your second place rider. He's got about 4 seconds on Andrew Short. Grant Langston is now up to 4th, and Heath Voss, the winner of our first heat, has moved all the way up to 5th after a not so good start for the Minnesota rider. He now lives in Texas, but he is a Yamaha rider. He is on a YZ250, trying to talk those guys at Yamaha back in America into letting him stay on the 2-stroke as compared to the 4-stroke.
Ernie doing an awesome job carrying the flag for all of the international riders, being from Costa Rica, and also carrying the flag for the factory Honda team. You know, Ricky Carmichael watching this has got to be proud of his teammate. Ricky, unfortunately not able to be here because of a knee injury, as we see Ernie continue to work that rhythm section and looking smooth as butter.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier, Cameron. Now that he's got a gap on Huffman, he can get out there onto that wall and carry some speed around. But if Huffman were close enough, he could get in there and block check him, and you got to be close enough to pass the guy to do a pass like that. And right now, Huffman hanging tough, but losing some yardage. And you could see just for a second there, Andrew Short starting to get into the picture.
Well, 12 laps down, and Damon Huffman riding smooth, but Andrew Short, you know, is on the gas. He had the second fastest lap time in practice. We talked about that. Definitely been focused this whole trip. He's going to go home and go back to the 125 West, where he's definitely a contender, winning in Las Vegas at the shootout. And right now, he's giving chase and seeing if he can pick it up on the Moto Triple X rider, Damon Huffman. The space is still wide open. Not a lot of racing in between riders right now at the top of the pack.
So we're continuing to watch Damon Huffman, the veteran of the Moto Triple X Honda team. He's your second place rider. Ernesto Fonseca leads. And here comes our third place rider, Andrew Short. And it looks like he's starting to make up a little bit of ground on Huffman. He's going to have to, because coming up behind is the number 8 KTM of Grant Langston, the 125 national champion, going full-time 250cc for THQ World Supercross GP this year. Right now he's up to 4th. He was second place in Spain in the mud, but that race, it was a crapshoot. It didn't count for much. It counted for everything, but you really couldn't put a lot of stock into what happened.
Well, this race going 20 laps on, you know, now a traditional Supercross track. There are 8 laps. It took a lot of strength, but this takes some fitness. And we know Grant Langston has great fitness. Andrew Short does as well. We'll see how that pays off. We're not sure, you know, what Damon Huffman's been doing as far as training, but I know he's been in Europe riding and racing and winning. You know he'd like to win this main right now.
Ernesto Fonseca is your leader. His lead has actually gotten shorter. He's down to 3.8 seconds. The gap between first and second place, Fonseca on Damon Huffman, as Andrew Short also starts closing in from third. Grant Langston is your 4th place rider. In 5th place is now Star Racing Yamaha's Keith Johnson. You see Ernesto right there lapping Ryan Clark. He was involved in that tangle up with Shane Boyd early in the race, and he is a lapped rider, but right now Fonseca continuing to use the high line down through that rhythm section.
Getting those 4 right out of the gate and continuing your rhythm, he's making some space. He hasn't been able to do it on every single lap, but when he does, he definitely gets a little bit more gap from Damon Huffman. But I'm actually a little bit surprised that Damon Huffman is keeping so tight with him.
We know a lot of the top Supercross riders who didn't make the trip are watching back home, and this would be a good chance right now for us to send out all of our best wishes to David Billiman and family. Fortunately, he and Erica and their baby Charlotte were involved in a car wreck on Friday night back in California. We understand the car is totaled, but most importantly, all of the Billimans are okay, so our best wishes go out to Team Yamaha's David Billiman.
Taking a look back in the field, that was Marmont Evans, and here Mike Brown. This is the battle back at 7, 8, and 9 currently is where Mike Brown sets, and now we move back forward to Andrew Short, still running in 3rd place and giving chase. But as you can see, not a lot of motorcycles directly in front of him. In fact, coming back the other way already, Ernesto Fonseca.
Ernesto looking to get the first win ever in 250cc racing. He's not done it outdoors. He's not done it indoors, but this would be a first for Ernesto. Of course, it'd be a first for Costa Rica. He comes through the whoops. A little squirrely right there, but keeps it going straight. He'll put another lap in the books. And now just 3 laps to go for Ernesto Fonseca.
And as he continues to lead here, the last time Ernesto won a Supercross was in the 125cc class on the West Coast in Salt Lake City. So it has been a bit of time for Ernie in the winter since it's been to the winner's circle. And I think the nerves are probably maybe starting to come up now. Ernie's probably, you know, thinking, I got to do this, I got to do this. And he's still looking great, and no bobbles is good news.
Well, he probably feels he's got Damon Huffman covered when it comes to outright speed. But very impressed by how Damon Huffman's been riding. He's put in good laps. He's keeping it straight. And right now he holds second. If Ernesto Fonseca makes a mistake, he'll be right there. See the camera angle through the whoops. He's begun to jump through instead of pounding through the whoops. And that's a little different than what we normally see. And it seems like now with just 2 laps to go, Ernesto's just taking the inside line. He's not getting out there and quadding it. And Ernesto Fonseca, not that far away from his first ever 250cc main event win in THQ World Supercross GP.
Well, this is where it looks like he's taking it safe as he gets down into the last couple laps, not quadding going through there. And as you said, taking the whoops, those big wide whoops as a rhythm section instead of blitzing them. But if he plays it too safe, he could open up the door, some time could close in. Then if he had a bobble, because when you change your route, when you stop doing what you were doing, it's hard to keep it going. And right now, Andrew Short, taking a look at him, still looking smooth.
In case you're wondering about Short's teammate, our points leader, Daryl Hurley on the MotorWorldRacing.com Suzuki team. Hurley is in 13th place. Now the white flag has come out for Fonseca. You're watching Andrew Short. He will come through a little double. You see the line starting to groove up on the track, but he's got 1 lap to go before he makes his first podium, the 250cc Supercross racing. Ernesto Fonseca is your leader. That is your runner-up, Damon Huffman, working his way through lap traffic. And unless something happens to Ernesto, you can see him slow down a lot right there. He doesn't want to take it too easy here, Cameron.
Damon is definitely reeling him in, but Ernie has the ability to look back and see where Damon is at all times. He's basically got 2 straightaways now. He's rhythming in the whoops. Huffman coming on, but it's going to be far too little, far too late. Ernie slowing down, but coming through. His first ever win, Ernesto Fonseca here in Arnhem.
There you see Huffman come across the finish line in second. Honda goes 1-2 here in Arnhem, Holland in THQ World Supercross GP. The checkered flag is out, and rounding out our podium, Andrew Short on the MotorWorldRacing.com Suzuki.
And Grant Langston coming through 4th, just holding off Keith Johnson. They had quite a battle going on there for 4th and 5th place, and Ernesto taking the victory lap for the first time ever on the big bikes.
Been a long trip. He went from 0 points in Spain to your winner here in Arnhem, Holland. A much different race at THQ World Supercross GP for everybody, but especially for that man right there, Ernesto Fonseca.
And I'm standing right now with a very happy mechanic for Ernesto Fonseca. Kenny, what a monkey off your back. I already asked Ernesto about it. What a relief this must be for you guys.
Oh, definitely. Last weekend was definitely a bummer, but he capitalized on it, and all his hard work and training's paying off.
What did you go through this week, though, putting that bike together and preparing it for this race?
It was definitely hectic being over here, but made it happen, and everything worked out good.
You guys going to go celebrate tonight?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, job well done the last 2 weekends.
All right, thanks.
I'll tell you what, Kenny Germain and Shane Drew, the 2 representatives over here from American Honda with Ernesto Fonseca, definitely earned their money because they had to put that bike back together, and that was a tough gig. Taking a look at our Honda 250cc main event results from Arnhem, Holland, Ernesto Fonseca is your winner. Damon Huffman is second. Andrew Short, his first 250 podium, is third. And then it's Langston, Keith Johnson, Jay Marmon, Tyler Evans rebounds for seventh. Heath Voss drops down to eighth. Yamaha mounted Greg Schnell will finish ninth. And rounding out the top 10 is Doug DeHaan. So the checkered flag has fallen. When we come back to THQ World Supercross GP, Jamie Little will be talking with our winners. With our third place finisher, Andrew Short.
If you guys remember back to the Europe rounds last year, that is when Andrew Short made his debut on the 250 and raised a lot of eyebrows. And Andrew, I can say you have improved tremendously, and here you are in your first podium.
Thank you. I had a good race. I got tired. I was a little disappointed. We had a couple weeks off, so it's understanding. But yeah, last year was a good race for me. I got a lot of experience, and it seemed to help, and especially going into Anaheim. So that's why I'm here this year, and it's going good. I had a good race. I'm proud I did this, and I finished third. It could have been a lot worse, and I'm ready for Anaheim.
All right, now you got to tell me about the contact with you and Tyler. We've seen you get pushed around by some other riders. We're not going to mention names, but you seem like you're getting tougher out there.
Yeah, I learned my lesson once, and he pushed me wide. So I gave him a taste of his own medicine. I'm sorry I put him down. I don't mean to roughhouse. Brown did the same thing to me, and I was mad. So understandably, he's probably mad, but that's racing. I'm sorry I did it, but I got to do good when I race, too.
No more Mr. Nice Guy out there, right?
No, especially when Anaheim comes.
All right, Andrew, what is your plan for next year?
I'm riding 125 West and 250 East, and plan to have a good run 125 West. Last Supercross on 125, I won, so hopefully I can keep the winning streak alive.
Hey, you got a good start here. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, it's always good to see this guy on the podium, always smiling.
And you know what, I think no matter what, he's always going to be one of the nice guys. Andrew Short, MotorWorldRacing.com Suzuki, gets on the podium for the first time in 250cc racing. Now probably a more familiar face down on the podium. That is our second place finisher, Moto Triple X's Damon Huffman.
Definitely a familiar face, a veteran of Supercross. Damon, it's so good to see you back up on the podium tonight.
Thanks a lot. You know, I've been riding really good lately. I had a great season up in Canada, and I'll be going back up there again this summer, but I've been racing over here. I've done 3 races, and I won 2 out of the 3, and feel like everything's working good for me, and I'd like to thank everyone back home, Kramer and Fannie Mae, Jay, Sean, and everyone, family and friends. Say hello to my wife, she's filming, but had a great time, you know, a lot of fun.
You having fun out there racing with Ernie and some of the guys from back home?
Yeah, I told Ernie, if I got to start with them, I said, watch out those last 4 laps because the diesel will be coming. And I started reeling him in a little bit, but that's all I had.
Well, hey, he's a happy guy. Second place. Are we going to see you back in the States next year?
In Supercross, yeah. The Nationals, I'll be in Canada, but looking forward to Supercross this year for sure.
All right, Damon. So far, so good. It's a good start. We'll see you in Anaheim.
All right, thanks a lot.
A fine ride for Damon Huffman. Solid from start to finish, but in the end, the big diesel, as he called it, didn't have enough to catch the rider out front. And our winner of THQ Supercross GP for the first time ever, Ernesto Fonseca.
You know, coming into these first 2 rounds, the pressure was on Ernesto Fonseca. He was the favorite, and Ernie, everybody expected you to win right off the bat. And what do? You don't even qualify for the main. But this weekend, things looked up.
Yeah, everything changed a little bit. You know, it's the surface is a little bit better than last week. We had a dome out here in Holland, and what can I say? My Honda was working great, and just want to thank my mechanic, my trainer, American Honda, dome up tires, and you know, hopefully get ready for Anaheim.
You know, I bet Ricky Carmichael's at home watching you going, yeah, that's my man. He's got to carry the flag for Honda next year.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, that's the goal. You know, Ricky's out, and that's kind of a bummer, but I've been training hard, and hopefully things will get better and better as the year goes on. This is the first one, and hopefully we'll have many more.
Well, physically, we've seen that you're bulking up quite a lot, but you're also riding flawless. You're just floating around the track, Ernesto. Every single lap, I think you quadded that jump.
Yeah, just about. I got a little tight over there and maybe halfway through the race, but you know, that's the way it goes. You got to just work it out and try to get better as the year goes on. This is the first race for me. I didn't even get to race last week, so yeah, I mean, Clear Channel guys did a great job. Just want to thank the Dirt Works guys too, and see you guys at home.
So did you hear Huff Daddy's diesel coming behind you?
Yeah, I heard him. I mean, he was riding good. He was right there in my back, and he kept me honest the whole race, and deserved it.
All right, great job, Ernesto Fonseca. We're going to let these guys go back to the States. celebrate Christmas, and we'll see them again in Anaheim.
So taking a look at our point standings in THQ World Supercross GP, two completely dynamic races. When you see the results from Spain and look at them from here, nobody shares the podium, so a big shakeup. Daryl Hurley was our winner, but he did not finish in the top 10 here in Spain, or rather in Holland, and that means Grant Langston is the new points leader with 40. Tyler Evans is second with 34. Daryl Hurley is in third after winning that first round. So there's your podium after a long day and evening of racing here in Arnhem, Holland. The weather was just as bad as it was in Seville, Spain, but thankfully they got a roof on this place, and they had a perfect track. The Dirtworks crew did their best. The riders put on a good show, and Cameron Steele is just a good night of racing.
It was awesome, and you know, all three guys on the podium, when you talked to them before the race, they all were in a good mood, and I think that's one thing that's really key about these guys getting on top. They came in with a good attitude. Some people were cold. It was raining a little bit. Maybe they were a little blue. These guys came in with a smile, and they're walking out with an even bigger one.
Don't forget, you can see the next round of THQ World Supercross GP on ESPN. That's on Thursday, January 8th. 3 p.m. will be the 125 class. The 250s go off at 4 p.m. But don't forget, there'll also be next day coverage on ABC's Wide World of Sports. That's 4 o'clock Eastern Time on Sunday, January 4th. And so the European leg of THQ World Supercross GP comes to a close here in Arnhem, Holland. For the riders and teams, it's back to America and time to get ready for Anaheim. For Cameron Steele and Jamie Little, I'm Davey Coombs saying so long, everyone. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.